Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind podcast for Friday, April 22nd, 2016. As of this recording, Sierra is still missing. So, I have been thinking about the Titanic for the last couple of days. And there's this thing out there that is the Titanic sinking in real time, and I kind of seen it. I actually looked at it's a 2-hour, 40-minute video that this company has released, and it's kind of, they're using it as a teaser to support, I think it's to support a Kickstarter for a game where you are playing a character on the Titanic. But this thing is an illustration of, I guess, how they think the Titanic sank today. And it goes in real time. So it starts less than a minute before the iceberg hits, and then it... Please don't hit me. Okay. And then it goes all the way to the sinking, and just after it stops, shortly after, within a minute of the ship going down. It takes 2 hours and 40 minutes to go. So anyway, I saw that it was out there, but I wasn't in a position to sit and watch it. And the wife, I went to the website, I'm getting ahead of myself, and read a little bit about it and saw that it was a thing for this game. And okay, well that could be interesting if the game comes out. It might be fun to get and play, maybe roam around the Titanic. That would be kind of cool. And I really didn't think that much about it. And then like a day later, the wife was watching it, come home, and she's like an hour into it. So the iceberg is already hit. The bow's already starting to sink, although the tip of it was still quite a ways above the surface of the water. And so that evening, what we ended up doing was after I got done with schoolwork, is she had the Tiger game on, and she had this thing running, and the camera shifts around it in different ways and does different things. It's not moving very fast, the camera, so it's kind of going around this thing as stuff is happening. There are certain animations going on, like they show what they call the rescue rockets, the fireworks that they would light off, in essence, that would to try to call the ship on the horizon that wasn't answering their telegraph, and the lifeboats being lowered. One of the things that's kind of creepy, but yet I think it was the right decision, is that there's no people on it. You don't see they don't have any computer animated people there. So you just see the ship, you see the lifeboats descending, and they're descending empty, And I think that's wise, because even with the ship, you can tell it looks very good, but you can also tell it's not the best computer graphics I've ever seen. It's video game quality graphics. It's not like Titanic the movie quality CGI kind of graphics. It is definitely there is, even though it looks really good, it's good. It's pretty good game graphics, but it's not super duper graphics. Anyway, so you're going through, so it's it's empty. The ship is empty. For the most part, you don't hear any sounds. There's lots of sounds. You can hear the ship creaking. You can hear the hissing of the steam as water's hitting the boiler. And I realized later that just how much we were missing sound-wise, because we had the game was on. We had the sound low, but it was still able to be heard. You could hear the sounds of the ship breaking up when it finally broke in two. There was one point where I thought I heard human sounds, and I wasn't sure. I'm like, is that the? But we also had the baseball game on it, and if you haven't heard much Titanic lore, there survivors of the Titanic say that from a distance, listening to all the people screaming for help in the water sounds just like when the crowd is screaming for a home run at the ballpark. So it was kind of tough to tell. And at one point, this was really toward the end there, I muted the TV, and sure enough, there were some human noises. But it's kind of the very end, shortly before it broke up. For the most part, the only noises you had were noises that were the noises of the ship. The engines and the boilers. You had the sound of the rockets going up and exploding. You had the sound of gunshots. Those occasions where they shot gunshots in the air to prevent people from storming the boats. Heard that. But basically, pretty much anything with human voices, they did not show, or you didn't hear. There was, times where they were trying to call back with a megaphone. They were trying to call back the lifeboats that were not full, which is pretty much all of them, and they didn't have you hear that. So so it was really cool to watch, but it was also kind of creepy. And it was funny because we were talking about last night and at dinner, and I said to the wife, I figured out why it's so creepy. It's cool, but it's creepy. And even before I could finish the sentence, because I paused, she says, because it's like it's some ghost ship. And I was like, exactly. I mean, because you don't see the people there, because they don't have the people there. So it's like a Flying Dutchman or this ghost ship. Even though it's a computer simulation, it kind of feels like it's this ship that just keeps reliving this experience, over and over and over again. It's really kind of haunting. It really is. And and I learned some things from it. Like I didn't know that the people that were on the surface, after it had totally gone beneath the waves, could hear sounds as it imploded or crashed down on the bottom of the ocean. They could hear sounds as it was going down. Now later, because I missed the first bit, like the next morning, I went ahead and found it on YouTube, and I had the headphones on, and I watched the first bit. So I watched the bit of the iceberg sinking, which was actually kind of anticlimactic. Not really that, but the camera angle was you were looking at the ship, you were back enough that you could see the whole ship, and you could see the iceberg, but it was also kind of tough to get a real good perspective on how close they were and exactly how the ship was moving in relation to it. I would have liked a better camera angle there. Like maybe something along the side of the ship, or like from the bridge, there was like this little observation deck, or maybe from the crow's nest. Something like that would have been nice there, I think, to make it a little bit different, or let you see better what was going on there, because you really couldn't see that much, because basically you had the ship and you had the iceberg, and the iceberg is coming in front of the ship from your angle, so it was really tough to tell. You could hear some sounds as it hit, but this thing had the distance perspective on sound as well. So if the camera was relatively far away from the ship, the sounds were softer than when times when it zoomed in. And so at this point, because you're seeing the whole ship, it was fairly far back, so you could hear something was happening, but it wasn't very loud, and it was kind of tough to tell what. And then at key points where stuff is happening, it would give a time, and it would give you some text as far as what's happening, such as, anytime the guns were fired, somebody's gun was fired, what was going on with the telegraph operators when ships said that they were going to come and try to rescue them, and how far away they were, things of that nature. So all through, it's not constant, but all throughout, there'll be these little time things coming up with some event that was happening. And then I watched the ending, and I watched the very and the ship was breaking up, and I started 2-3 minutes before the actual breakup. And it was interesting because I could hear a lot more detail with the headphones on. You could actually, and I don't know how, I guess there probably is, based on how they expect that, from a structural standpoint, the ship would have reacted before it finally split apart. But you could hear like things breaking inside the ship before the ship finally broke in two. And then when it did break in two, like from the Titanic movie days, they thought that the bow of the ship went up, and it kind of bobbed there for a little bit, not long, before it went down, and it kind of went up straight and went down straight. And this was showing it a bit different, because it did come up, but it never got 100% up, and it was tilted at an angle, and then it just started going down. And there really wasn't any of this bobbing stuff. And it just seemed to me, looking at it both times, it's like, man, because they show people, hanging onto the back, and I know there's at least one historical person I'm aware of that did hang onto the back and survive, but it seems like it would be a lot harder with that angle. If I don't know if that's just their conception, or if they're basing that on some new thought as far as how it would have gone down. Not sure on that, but so it's kind of got me in a Titanic frame of mind. I think we're probably going to watch the movie soon if it's on Prime. Turns out we don't have it. I think the daughter did, and I think when we wanted to watch it, we borrowed hers. But now she's not in the house. It's a problem. But I'm hoping maybe it's on Prime. I don't know if it's on Prime. We gotta look. I went and I went out for lunch today, and I was doing some reading for class. And a lot of times, to just kind of drown out everything, I will listen to some music, some true soundtrack. So I was like, today, Titanic. I put the Titanic soundtrack on. So anyway, I also am reminded, one last Titanic thought is, back in the day when I got my first Palm Pilot, way back in the day, there were places where you could go on whatever passed for the internet those days, and you could download some text files that you could place on your Palm Pilot, and they were little public domain things, that you could get. There might have been like some Mark Twain or something like that, but one of the things you could get was the cargo manifest of the Titanic. And I remember downloading that, and just, when I had a few minutes to kill, I would sit there and kind of page through it. You can see the car, and you can see all these goods and stuff that were down in the cargo hold, and that was kind of interesting. I gotta imagine that somewhere I could get a hold of that same information today. That might be interesting to look at again. But yeah, and that was really before I even really got all that into Titanic. I obviously at that point I knew it, you know, it was a ship and it drowned, a lot of people died, but it wasn't until later, like when Ballard found it, that I kind of really got interested in them. So anyway, yeah, and I'm kind of wondering how I can work that into I just got this feeling like it'd be cool to do a space opera version of that somehow, or work that into a space opera, or into my space opera that I'm thinking about, something like that. Anyway, I'm at 15 minutes plus, so I think I will let that be that for today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.